केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। गुकारस्त्वन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्त्वन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति। So please follow me for the last time, and from next time on we will just do it together, and I'll record it in case you want to just practice it. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. Mauna Vyakhya Prakatita Parabrahma Tattvam Yuvanam. Varshishtante Vasat Rishiganaihi Avritam Brahmanishtahi. Varshishtante Vasat Rishiganaihi Brahmanishtahi. Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudramanandarupam. Acharyendram Karakalita Chinmudramanandarupam. Swatma Ramam Mudita Vadanam Dakshina Murti Mide. Swatma Ramam Mudita Vadanam Dakshina Murti Mide. Vatavitapi Samipe Bhumi Bhage Nishannam. Vatavitapi Samipe Bhumi Bhage Nishannam. Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadatāramarat. Sakala Muni Jananam Jnanadatāramarat. Tribhuvana Gurumisham Dakshinamurti Devam. Tribhuvana Gurumisham Dakshinamurti Devam. Janana Marana Dukkha Cheda Daksham Namami. Janana Marana Dukkha Cheda Daksham Namami. Chitram Vatataror Mule Vriddha Shishya Gurur Yuva. Chitram Vatataror Mule Vriddha Shishya Gurur Yuva. Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam Shishyastu Chinna Samshayaha. Gurostu Maunam Vyakhyanam Shishyastu Chinna Samshayaha. Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Bhishaje Bhavaroginam. Nidhaye Sarva Vidyanam Bhishaje Bhavaroginam. Gurave Sarvalokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Gurave Sarvalokanam Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye. Om Namah Pranavarthaya Shuddha Jnanaikamurtaye. Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Nirmalaya Prashantaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam. Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyam Nijantargatam. Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya. Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya. Yas Sakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swat स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् यत् साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयम् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं पुनः माया कल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् माया कल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतम् मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकम् असत्कल्पार्थकं भासते यस्यैव स्फुरणं सदात्मकम् असत्कल्पार्थकं भासते साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् साक्षात् तत्त्वमसीति वेदवचसा यो बोधयत्याश्रितान् यत् साक्षात् करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भो निधौ यत् साक्षात् करणात् भवेन्न पुनरावृत्तिर्भवाम्भो निधौ तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् नानाच्छिद्रघटोदरस्थितमहादीपप्रभाभास्वरम् ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते ज्ञानं यस्य तु चक्षुरादिकरणद्वारा बहिस्पन्दते जानामि इति तमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत्समस्तं जगत् जानामीति तमेव भान्तमनुभात्येतत्समस्तं जगत् तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नम इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये. Okay, we can do some meditation today. Start with that. Om Namah Shivaya. So the posture for meditation, the appropriate posture for meditation is sitting both erect, with the back erect, but not too tense. The idea of the meditation is to be alert but not go to sleep. And I think you are all familiar with the steps. We will just quickly go through a few of them and then spend the rest of the time actually doing some meditation. The first step after asanam is to lead your mind towards watching the one sense organ which is present throughout the body, which is the sense of touch. The preparation for meditation, which gently leads the mind to focus on what you want it to focus on, is better than to force it in any way. To gently lead it is better to force it. So these steps actually are conducive towards leading the mind to be focusing, absorbing, rather than concentrating, which is a word which has meanings of tension. So the first focus is on the sense organ. So feel the sense, feel the touch of the various parts of your body. The hips and the thighs touching the chair. The back touching the back of the chair. The hands in your lap. The fingers clasping each other. And then, at the end of this phase of the exercise, focus in on the gentlest of the touches, with your eyes closed, the touch of the two sets of eyelashes. You can even flutter your eyes a little bit to feel the two sets of eyelashes touching each other. And even open your eyes just a little bit to allow the silhouette of the eyelashes to be visible to you. And then gently close the eyes again. You can repeat this. Open the eyes, allow some light to come in. Watch your eyelashes and then feel them touching each other. The next step in leading your mind to be absorbed the way you want it to be absorbed instead of running around, is to examine the state of your body in terms of any stored tension. It is best done systematically from one end to the other, pausing at places where there is some tendency to store the tension. So from the top of the head, pause at the eyes and the temples. Give it a suggestion to relax. Move to the neck and the shoulders. You don't have to linger there if there is no tension, but if there is, you may want to stay there for a few seconds. Then move to the chest, and then to the stomach area, which is notorious for harboring some tension. Here, you may want to spend a few more seconds. And one technique which is useful is, there are two techniques that are useful. One of them is to actually consciously make an area tense. Tense up the muscles and then relax. And the other technique is to relax the muscles with the outgoing breath. You can complete the survey of the body by continuing to go down to your thighs, to your legs, your feet, and perhaps mentally stand back and look at the whole body consciously. The other steps that we have talked about in the past, but we will perhaps do it some other time, is to examine your breathing and also to do some japa. Also to watch your mind. But some of that will get absorbed in the meditation that we are about to do. So as far as the preparation goes, this is just a partial preparation, but enough to get started. So the first verse of Dakshina Murti Stotram Dakshina Murti Stotram meaning a stuti or praise of Ishvara as a teacher, as a Shiva. In the first verse, the main idea is Atma Pratyak Swarupam. Atma Pratyak Swarupam meaning it is the nature of remaining unmanifest. So perhaps this idea can be better appreciated if we look at the example of, in our daily life, an electricity which is passing through an electrical appliance. Any of the appliances, let's say an air conditioner. In an air conditioner, the electricity expresses itself through this appliance but not independently expresses itself as electricity. You can see the effect of electricity, the presence of electricity by the working appliance. If for some reason the appliance is non-functional, it's not working, there can be two reasons for it. Either there is no electricity flowing through, the power is off, or that the appliance is broken. It is non-functional, even though the electricity is there. But in all different appliances, the electricity remains the same, but the makeup of the appliance is different, resulting in different expressions of the electricity. Sometimes it could be a fan or a heater or a light bulb. So the effect of the electricity is different from appliance to appliance. The utility of the electricity is different from appliance to appliance, even though the electricity remains the same. Atma Pratyak Swarupam. So the Shastra tells us that the Atma is like electricity. And my body-mind complex, sense organs, organs of action, the mental activities, the vrittis, the type of mind, the type of sense organs, the type of bodies are all different. But none of them can function without the Atma, which remains the same. But there is a difference between electricity and the Atma. The electricity, even though it is unmanifest, you cannot see it, you might touch it, it's possible to feel it. But the main difference between electricity and the Atma is that the electricity is an object and as such can be turned off and on. The Atma, on the other hand, is the ultimate subject. Never visible by itself, unmanifest by itself, Pratyak Swarupam. But flowing through the appliance called the body-mind complex. So the one difference between the electricity flowing through the appliances and the Atma flowing through the bodies of animals, human beings, devatas, trees, etc. The one difference is that the non-functioning of an appliance can be due to either a non-functioning, some malfunctioning appliance, or the absence of electricity. Whereas in the case of the Atma, there is never an absence of the Atma. It is not an object like electricity. It is not made up of things. It is self-existing, self-luminous. I am aware. And yet, the human appliance can malfunction. When it does, it ceases to reflect and express the Atma. But it has no effect on the Atma. There's no possibility, no way for the Atma not to be there. It is the one presence. In all of my personal manifestations and others' personal manifestations. Child, youth, old person, from an ant to an elephant to a devata, a huge tree, a small sapling. They are all different manifestations. But the Atma is never manifest. You can see the presence of the Atma by things alive, like an appliance. Atma Pratyak Swarupam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So we were discussing the Karika, verse number 12 of the first verse of Dakshina Murti Stotram, Vishwam Darpana Dashramana Nagri Tulyam. So in this section, this comparison given was between the Swapna Avastha and the Jagrat Avastha. And here, verse number 12 is saying, Nidraya darshitan arthan na pashyati yathothithaha samyak jnana udayat urdhvam tatha vishwam na pashyati. So it was pointed out that it's pointed out the similarity between the Swapna Avastha and the Jagrat Avastha. So the Swapna Avastha and Jagrat Avastha have the most important common things, that at one time it is not there. Something is not there. And at one time it is there, and another time it is again going back to not being there. This is the most important similarity. As opposed to the Atma, which it is never not there. It is our own thinking that at one time I was not there. So when you say one time I was not there, you are really referring to yourself as an appliance. That's true. As an appliance, you are not there. But as electricity, it was never a question that you were not there. And even now when you are functioning, there is not a question that the electricity is not there. And your thinking, your postulation that one time I'm going to die is also not true. The appliance may become non-functional, but not the electricity. So very similar to that is the Swapnavastha. So the Swapnavastha also has a kind of like an appliance, because all the characters that you manufacture as a way of expressing yourself. So your thoughts, your vasanas, your repressed feelings, whatever it is that creates the samagri, the wherewithal for a dream character. That's all there. So the appliances kind of come up, but your awareness never really goes anywhere. You are awareful before you were dreaming, you are awareful while you are dreaming, and you are awareful after the dream ends. And after the dream ends, then all of the things go somewhere. We don't know what happens, where they go. Maybe to reappear at a later dream, they're stored away. But anyway, for the time being, they're gone. You can't touch it, you can't feel it, you can't see it, nothing. They disappear. So that's what he's saying. He says, Nidraya darshitan arthan. So arthan here means the various things, padartha, various things, various appliances, if you may. And na pashyati yatha uttitaha samyak jnana udayat urdhvam taya vishwam na pashyati. So this is a kind of like a promise. We have to have shraddha. And the promise is that when you have samyak jnana, so when you see the the Brahmans as you directly see the Brahman. Directly see the Brahman means that your vision will be very clear that this is me. It is not anything other than that. And so when that becomes very clear, and you are given a taste of that in a couple of situations. One is deep sleep. So in deep sleep also there is a complete absence of the mind. No mind, no duality. You are still there. This is one thing. And the other one is that in a yogic samadhi, you can temporarily do nirvikalpa samadhi. It's possible. With a lot of practice and so on and so forth, you will see that there is nothing outside. Nothing inside, nothing outside, it's all on me. But if the nirvikalpa samadhi is not done with a lot of prior preparation of the questions of your mind, then the questions of the mind continue to be the karana for the dvaita that comes back later on. So the yogic samadhi is not the ultimate, just like a deep sleep is also not the ultimate. You and I both have a very pleasant non-duality, presence of non-duality, which is given to you whether you do samadhi or not. Everyone is given that. Even a criminal is given that. This is a very beautiful thing, really. This is just amazing. That supposing you have created a heinous crime, and like this is happening these days in Europe. My goodness, they stabbed this woman. How can anyone do that? It is just impossible. And all because of some kind of a wrong training of you know, it's just there's nothing wrong with people, but there is something wrong with the ideology. And until they really catch the people who are spewing such venom, it will continue on. That's what they've got to do. For that, they have to learn Urdu and actually listen. And nobody knows Urdu. And nobody listens to these people who are just saying, you know, for the name of Allah, go and kill somebody. This is the whole thing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Whatever was saying was, even a person who has killed some people is given a very pleasant sleep. What a blessing of Ishvara. Not permanently, but for a while. I sometimes think about it, my goodness. They also sleep. Perhaps a little fitfully, but they also sleep. So the sleep is one way of experiencing non-duality. And the yogic meditation also has another way of experiencing non-duality, but both of them are temporary. And the permanent one is where you precede the samadhi with education of the mind, so that all the questions of your mind are definitely answered by yourself. And then, this will come in a couple of verses, then when you do samadhi, then it is very possible that you will be able to stay there. Here Swami Maheshananji was talking about a very interesting thing. He was saying, you know, that he was talking about the experience of joy, ananda. So in the experience of joy, he says, just look at it, what happens. First of all, the ananda is preceded by an intense desire. If you don't have desire, then you don't get any ananda. You get normal ananda, but nothing special. But if you desire something intensely and you get it, then you have a relatively strong ananda. You definitely get it. And the mechanism for that ananda, he was talking about these Bengali sweets, sandesh. So many of you may be aware of the sweet called sandesh. So the sandesh is different from rasagulla because it is made out of cottage cheese. And the sugar level is not that high. I mean, I grew up with sandesh with my parents in Bihar. We used to be very close to, so we were used to get some very good, Bengali sweets. And the taste of sandesh is just something amazing. So Swami Maheshananji was saying that if you go to Calcutta, there is a couple of sweet shops that are famous for sandesh. So people will say, okay, Swamiji, as soon as you come, we're going to take you there. And Swamiji himself was from Rajasthan. He's a Marwadi. So he really didn't, although I think that I am getting to know that he started with Ramakrishna Mission. And so he was very fond of Ramakrishna, Vivekananda for a while. Then I'm told, this is from when Swamiji just came to my home. He was the one who was just telling me this because I didn't know about this. He got disenchanted by the Ramakrishna Mission because their teaching was too shallow. And this often happens. The originals are all excellent, but it just atrophies after a while. And then now, and we used to, when we were at the, and I'm talking publicly, and I don't want to really disparage anything, but this is the truth as I see it. So when we were at PRC, we used to invite the Ramakrishna Mission Swami from San Francisco to come address us. And we were all students there for a while. And our assessment was that their teaching was so shallow, had no depth to it, no way of really explaining. It was just like parroting some words and so on and so forth. So we all looked at each other and we asked Swami Dayananji also, and I said, is it our assessment wrong? He says, no. Their teaching is not really. So they've become like a mission, and they transfer people from one place to the other, whether or not the person is good or not or anything. Anyway, so for that reason, Swami Maheshananji left Ramakrishna Mission and then studied with his own people and then really got very good about it and so on and so forth. But he was saying that, so he was near Bengal. He must be there somewhere near Calcutta. That's how he got to know the Bengali sweets and so on. So he was saying that if you really are desirous of eating sandesh from the best halwais, then you can, his disciples used to take him. He said, Swamiji will take you to this such and such place. He has a name in there somewhere. And we'll taste sandesh. Swamiji was saying that if you examine and analyze your ananda when you're eating sandesh, analyze it, what happens? So what happens is that your mind stops and the taste buds are so satisfied that your mind just becomes stabdha is the word that he used. Stabdha means it ceases to vibrate and it just stays there and lets your own atma take over, and the own ananda being expressed by the taste organs, taste buds. That's what happens. It's your own ananda. But normally you don't experience it because you don't have a strong desire for a particular thing. You have a general desire for things and you get general ananda. But the mechanism remains the same. But if your training and your education of the type of mind that you have is such that you are able to slowly diminish its working and make it stabdha, then the rasa is your own, not from sandesh or anything like that. Anyway, we'll talk more about this. So this one is, this is what is called your own ananda, swarupa ananda. Anyway, that's the mechanism that he was explaining. So here, he says that when you wake up from a dream, then the dream objects are no longer there. You are there yourself. In a similar way, what will happen is that when you have sakshat karanam of Brahman, which is yourself, because right now, going back to the meditation, I am only able to see the expression of my electricity in my appliance. And we've also talked about it, that this is very much like my reflection. And so this is what I am really just completely taken up by. I examine the state of my mind, and when the mind is a little quiet, I like it. When it is moving around, I don't like it. When I'm angry, then I don't like it at all. And so on and so forth. But in all cases, I am not looking at the Shuddha Atma. I am looking at just the expression of the Atma in the mind. And I cannot look at the Shuddha Atma because another thing which the Vedanta says, that the reason you cannot see your Atma, that it is very powerful. it is like, this is a good, I tell you, this is in my reading and my experience and so on and so forth, this is a really good way to look at it. Your Atma is like a 1,000-watt bulb. I mean, it's just an expression, it's even more than that. And you cannot, just like you cannot directly see a very powerful lamp. You're incapable of seeing because your eyes will close. It's just too strong for you. Amazingly. Can you believe it? Our own self is that powerful. So that all powerfulness of the Atma is what is called Paramatma. So all I can see is Jivatma. The Jivatma is filtered light, heavily filtered. Filtered to the point where I can see it. Once in a while I feel the filter goes away and I feel a little better about it. I'm very happy and so on and so forth. The most intense happiness would be when for just a short time preceded by some very strong desire. Imagine, for example, that there has been an air crash and you don't know whether your loved one survived or not. And if you find out that he or she survived, which is a very strong desire, because, especially your own children, if something were to happen to them, that is the worst thing that can happen to us, that our children die before we do. And so if you ever get a news that your young one is involved in some huge air crash or accident, your whole life is ruined. And if you were to find out that that person survived it, imagine the ananda that will create. The ananda is your own, but it's such a release because of that there is no comparison to that kind of an ananda. So in any case, this ananda that we experience is really highly, what engineers say, attenuated ananda. Attenuated means it is highly filtered. You cannot look at yourself. And so therefore your mind, because it is not trained to look at it, cannot look at it. Cannot look at it. Even the deep sleep that we keep talking about and so on, is not the real ananda. Not the real ananda. Swami Maheshananji says that we don't know. We don't know the Paramananda. He says people think that I am very happy and so on and so forth, and now that's enough. He says no, it's not it. He says the ananda of understanding the self is so intense. He gave a very interesting example. He says that it is that your tears will not stop. Tears will not stop. It will be just amazing. And your face will be wet from all the tears. He says it's hard to imagine the kind of ananda that would be. So anyway, all I'm saying was that what we see is really our own reflection. Our entire world only consists of just looking at our appliance only, not the electricity at all. But slowly, just at the beginning to see that the truth is that I am Pratyak Swarupam and I am timeless. It's just a start. And if I'm able to grasp it slowly to a point that becomes overwhelming to me, and I'm able to withstand that overwhelming feeling, and to process it, and to understand it, and to grasp it, then I can see myself. But that's a much later stage. Much later stage. We are just at the very beginning steps of doing this. So, so that's what he's saying. So all I gave that commentary on was that this is the second line of verse number 12. Samyak jnana udayat urdhvam tatha vishwam na pashyati. Samyak jnana udayat urdhvam. Samyak jnana means sakshat karanam. My ability to see not my reflection but myself. If that happens, and it will happen, that is bound to happen. Let us have the courage and to desire that kind of a thing. That is the mukshutvam that we talked about, that if we can be that kind of a mukshu, then what you will find is Vishwam na pashyati. Vishwam na pashyati, that whatever happens and so on and so forth, I don't even have to close my eyes. Of course, the Vishwam na pashyati when you close your eyes, but that's just a temporary, because my feeling is that the world is still there outside of me, even though my eyes are closed. But there, it doesn't matter whether your eyes are open or closed. You don't have the conclusion that anything is different from you. It's all the same. Anyway, so that's what that talks about. Then number 13. Anadimayaya suptaha yada jivaha prabudhyate ajan anindram aswapnam advaitam buddhyate tada. So here the same idea is presented in a different way, but some new words are used. So one an important thing, the word yada that you see in our shastras many times, yada tada. So we should see the technical meaning of that. The technical meaning, the normal meaning is when that happens. Then you say, okay, yeah, that's true. When that happens, then you will see there is no Vishwam. Yeah, that's the normal meaning. The technical meaning of yada is durlabhatvam, very difficult to achieve. And so I'm just telling you, this is how the interpretation is. So Brahma Jnanam is very difficult to achieve. Very difficult to achieve. And it's interesting, I have to tell you something on a personal level. When we used to listen to Swami Chinmayanandaji, Swami Chinmayanandaji was, in some ways, very open to us in pointing out that this is very difficult. And I spent 2 years with him before I met Swami Dayanandaji. And so my beginning was with him, and I'm very grateful for him and so on. And I remembered it so well, especially after meeting with Swami Dayanandaji and so on, that he used to be saying that this is not easy to achieve, And even though we got a taste of it, we got a taste of the Atma, enough so that my life got changed. But in terms of the finality of it and so on, Swami Chinmayananda was quite clear that this is not easy. It's going to be very difficult. When Swami Dayanandaji came, he gave the impression that this is not that difficult. And I have to tell you, that misled us. for a long time. We were under the impression that, mistaken impression that it is not that difficult. And my life is an expression of the fact that this was not true. And it's not as though he intentionally misled us, but it's just that Swami Dayanandaji was so full of daya, Dayananda, so full of love. He didn't want us to give us the news that it is difficult. It's not as though he didn't know, he didn't intentionally mislead. But I think he misled us by saying, no, you just keep doing this, it will happen. It's not that easy. Not that easy. And in some ways, my finally reaching, and you get little glimpses of it from Swami Tattvavidanandaji and Swami Viditatmanandaji. They never go out and say that, but I think you get enough feeling. So my reassessment of Swami Dayanandaji's message started when I started to talk to Swami V and Swami TV. It really took a full circle when I started reading Swami Maheshananji. And his interpretation of the Shastras and so on. And for the last several years, I am now getting completely reassessed that really it hasn't really changed any of my I'm doing a lot better personally than I ever was. But the reassessment is that it is not that easy. I don't think I can become a Jivan Mukta in this life. Very little chance. The way I'm doing it and so on and so forth. So Dayanandaji also used to say, yes, you can. Don't think so. So the word yada means durlabhatvam, very difficult to achieve. Very difficult to achieve. And so here, for those of you that have the Hindi book, you will see how many references he has given to further this. For example, he says, in Sri Krishna, Gita, in verse number 719, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. He says, after so many lives, one gains me. And you can always assume that this is my last life, and now I will reach Krishna. But then the thing that I am really beginning to appreciate from the teaching of Swami Maheshananji is a self-assessment. Do your self-assessment. You don't have to tell, nobody has to tell you where you are. You have to assess yourself. How free are you today? How much progress are you making? And the fact that you are a lot freer than before, good, that's nice. But how free are you from the end? And so then you say, how far do you have to go? And this is not to say that one should become discouraged about it. That's not the point. But the point is to be realistic about it. And to see that this is not an easy task. Is to become a Jivan Mukta. You're getting to have the equation with Paramananda, with Parameshwara. You have to be like Parameshwara. You have to be like Parameshwara. All the gunas of Parameshwara, other than the fact that he controls the whole thing, but the essence of the Parameshwara, Ishvara, of having the sense of freedom, having the sense of love toward the others, and so on and so forth, should be very close. Otherwise, how are you going to become that? So it is difficult. It is difficult. And I appreciate Swami Dayanandji's love for us and his enthusiasm and so on. But it is, I think I am beginning to appreciate Swami Chinmayanand more after reading Swami Maheshanandji and others. That and I must say, this is interesting. I'm just, giving you my personal view and so on. Really, almost one of the reasons that there was many reasons that I abandoned Swami Chinmayanand and went with Swami Dayanandji, and I think this must have been one of those. His adherence to logic and so on were others. His love, his personality is totally different. That really just captured me. But one of them must have been, that he encouraged us to say this is not that difficult. And we were taken in by that. But in retrospect, I feel Swami Chinmayanandji, as the father figure, as the very strong person and so on, was a little bit more honest in telling us that this is not easy. And I'm beginning to appreciate it only slowly with the teachings of Swami Maheshanandji. Backed by, you see, so look at this paragraph. So he says, Shri Krishna ne bhi yahi kaha, bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan prapadyate, aneka janma samsiddha tata yati paramam gatim. So Gita 6:49. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschit mam veti tattvataha. Gita number 7:3. And then of course the Kathopanishad, Shravanaya api bahubhirna labhyaha shinvantobi bahuvoho yanna vidyuhu. The same thing is talked about. So that when you see the word yada, don't gloss over it and just go suddenly that, okay, yeah, when that happens, it happens. Yada means technically it is difficult. So that should stir us to really redouble our efforts to improve ourselves and so on. Anyway, so that is one of them. Okay, then the second word, which Swami Maheshanandji pointed out, is Anadi Mayaya Suptaha. So he says that from the Anadi Maya, one should be clear that Jiva is also Anadi. We already know this by now, but it should be taken into account that we don't have a beginning. We've always been there in one form or the other. Don't say how old I am, how many lives have we had. Infinite life. We've always been there in one form or the other. So that's another thing. Then Swami Maheshanandji focuses on Buddhyate tada. Buddhyate means that when someone is woken up. So he spends a lot of verbiage on that. So Buddhyate mada means that someone is woken up. You don't. In the case of our night, we can wake up ourselves. There also our waking up is done by some karma, some vasanas. We don't wake up by ourselves. In fact, if it's up to us, we'll never wake up. Never wake up. It's so pleasant that we don't want to wake up. But we wake up from pleasantness to unpleasantness because somebody. And then in this particular case, you're woken up from a dream state. So when you're having some kind of a nightmare, then somebody is kind enough to wake you up. And so there it means that Vedanta Vakya wake you up. Vedanta Vakya wake you up. At this point, let me launch another story from Swami Maheshanandji. I'll I think that's going to take a lot of our time, but hopefully it'll be very, very instructional. So it is relevant to this, the fact that something wakes you up. So here, and then so here also, I'm sorry, if you look at the references, Tadvidhi pranipatena pratiprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha Gita 4:34. And then in the Mundaka Upanishad also, Tadvijnanartham gurumeva vigachet. May you also only go to a guru. Don't try to do it yourself. Bhagwan Shankara Bhagavat-padacharya also said, Swatantre Brahmanveshanam na kuryat. Don't do this by yourself. You'll be lost. Please, you go to help somebody. So in this, Swami Maheshananji gave a beautiful example. So, in the form of a story. And it really struck a chord with me. I just read it in part of the Purusha Suktam just a few days ago. So the story goes that there was a businessman who was carrying some gems or something valuable with him. And so he was accosted by 4 robbers who blindfolded him and took him into a jungle and opened up his eyes there where he was lost. It was only trees all around, all dark. He had no idea where he had gone. And then snatched all the gems from him. So now the guy was all dazed and saying, So the first robber said, let's kill him. Because he might remember our faces and report it to the police or whatever, and we don't want any witnesses. Let's kill him. So he was kind of like the ringleader, and he said, let's kill him. The second robber said, let him be alive. We've gotten everything we wanted from him anyway. What difference does it make? Let's leave his life. He's got wives, children, and so on and so forth. So some kindness came over him, and he says, you're not going to we're going to blindfold you again. And so only when we leave, you will leave that, isn't it? He says, yes, I'll do that. So he says, okay, so let's leave him. So, really there were 3 robbers, not 4, 3 robbers. So the third one was a robber. And Swami Maheshananji says all robbers are not the same. They also have some are worse than others. This guy was full of compassion. He says, oh my God, this guy is terrible. So what he did was, he whispered to him, do not leave this place. I will be back to rescue you. So he says, okay, I'll wait. So, and of course he was part of this gang. So he didn't want to say that, because he'll be killed. So he went with the others for a couple of hours and to his village, and then they all split up all the loot and so on and so forth. Then he looked at, and he says, I better go back to him. So he says, he opened his blindfold and told him, listen, I will take you to the road which will take you back to your village. And you're on your own at this point after I take you. We led him to a road. He took him out of the jungle and led him to a road. And he says, okay, go this direction. You have to walk, if a bus comes, whatever it is, so he says, I don't have any money. Can you please take me? He says, no. I am not accepted I'm still a robber, and I don't want to be caught, but I have given you clear instructions. Please go in this direction. So he says, okay. This is the story. how is that applicable to us? So Swamiji says, here's the thing. We have a lot of gems with us. The real gem we have is a sense of freedom, which is me alone. And that sense of freedom, that sense of infinity, has been robbed by three robbers. And what are the three robbers? One is Deha, one is sense organs, and the third one is the mind. The Deha is akin to robber number one. How is it akin to robber number one? Because the body, if you are following the body, there is no chance for you to become free. You become a slave to just eating, and you don't feel there is anything else, because everything gives you some joy. Even the eating gives you some joy. Lots of joy, actually. So you feel this is enough. I don't need anything else. And you're going to die just with following the body. The body itself will lead you down to the body will disintegrate, and you will disintegrate with it. Fortunately, for some of us, we begin to become less independent upon the first robber because we begin to appreciate the second robber. The second robber says that there is more to life than just eating. So yet now you become a slave to other forms of fun. Music is the most important one. And doing some exercises and so on and so forth, some discipline of the sense organs, enjoying it and so on, also becomes the second robber. It's a little bit more free. You feel a sense of some freedom from the body, but it is still not the same. The third robber is your mind. Is your mind. And the mind says, hey, you're not free, but I'm willing to set you free. Follow this path and you will be free. And you say, can't you lead me there? And the mind says, I can't go there. I cannot go to your resting place because I don't belong there. And if you insist on it that no, you have to lead me there, and you can, you'll never reach there. The mind is incapable of taking you there. You have to abandon the mind, but to follow the instructions of the mind. And that instruction means that it is an educated mind that follows the instructions. Because the educated mind doesn't mislead you. It says you just go in this direction. Buddhi. Shraddha with buddhi. So, but if you just are, see, there's the thing. Following the mind's instructions by abandoning it is the right way. But if you say, you kindly hold my hand at every time, that becomes experiential. You get into samadhi kind of a business and so on and so forth, you'll never get there. A beautiful example. Swami Maheshananji says, so this is what he says, tada prabudhyate, that you are woken up by some kind of a kind mind in yourself, your own Shraddha, that then you meet the right people, you read the right shastras and so on, and then you're on your way, free from all the robbers. So his instructions were that the first thing we should do is to gain a sense of independence from from food, and just going from one experience to the other. You should, and in fact, this is where a certain amount of some fasting at times, and just not be as slave to food and so on and so forth is very important, because it will not lead you to a sense of freedom. And then the second one is where there are some obvious ways of finding joy, such as music and so on and so forth. You should also slowly avoid that. You should avoid that. Not suddenly, but you should start to be free of that. That if you're just listening to music all the time, which gives you some pleasure, no doubt about it, is not real pleasure. This is just a reflected pleasure. And so you should be free of that. And then finally, do not become a slave to just being led by the mind, step by step by step by step. It's already given you directions, and you say, thank you, I'm on my way, and I will follow your instructions from this point on. Very, very good, I thought. I've not seen this kind of a analysis by anyone. So anyway, so I'll end with that, and we'll start with verse number 14 next time. Om asato ma satgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityo ma amritam gamaya. Om purnamadav purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavashishyate. Om shanti shanti shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Few minutes for questions, not as many. Yes, Vijay?
In verse number 13, what is supta means?
Suptaha means asleep.
And can you break the second sentence,
Yeah,
verse?
so it is Ajam Anidram. Ajan Ajanma Nidram. Just a second. Jagrat. Okay, yeah. Janma Nidram. Okay, now I get it. So Janma here means Jagrat Avastha. Means one which is where you are born into full awareness. That's why the Sushupti and the Swapna Avastha is called half awareness, because your sense organs are not active. But in the Jagrata Avastha, you have full awareness with the help of sense organs. So there it says Janma. And Nidram is Sushupti, means it's complete cessation of anything. And means Rahita, means it is devoid of Janma and Nidram. And Aswapnam also. So here this is pointing out to Turiya, which is neither Swapna nor Sushupti nor Jagrat, but the very basis of all of them. It is the very electricity that is, like a fan which is half off, which is slow, one which is full, and all of that. So it has nothing to do with any states of your expression. And so that's what he says, ajanma nidram aswapnam advaitam buddhyate. Tada. Yeah. Yeah.
The three robbers thing you just said, body, sense organs, mind. Is it also advised to go one by one in our path? Like first?
Well, I think that not really. It's just that you have to get freedom from one's obsession. That's the word I was looking for. Obsession with all of them. So the end result is that this is guna guneshu vartante. So all these are nothing, as we saw in the Gita also. These are all different gunas. And as long as, so this is the thing to see is that as long as my identity is wrapped up with the anatma, I'll never be free. All these are anatmas, different levels of anatma. And if I define myself in terms of the anatma, then I'm fooling myself. I'll never be free. So how I define myself independent from me depends on me. And something which is very obvious, I have to get rid of that. That I'm okay even without it. Something which is more difficult to do might take more time. So I've got to figure it all out. It's not as easy as to say it's only once you do body, then you do this and so on. It's much more complicated than that. Eventually though, my definition of myself has to be independent of all the anatmas. That means relationships. So this is called Eshana Traya. Vitta Eshanaha, all these Eshanas I have to be free of. And then when I'm able to appreciate myself that I'm okay without them, I don't need any relationships, I don't even need the body. This is the most difficult one in the end. So there, the fact that I become hungry and so on, that also has to be seen as nothing but the prarabdha karma, which is just keeping me barely alive. And so there also I say, Ishvara, I know you were the one who just gave me this body, and you are keeping me hungry and thirsty and so on. So I'm just complying with your requests and so on. But so the swarthartha, that I will become very full after I quench my hunger, it has to be given up. And in the beginning, these are all steps that we are told, that do not eat for pleasure. Eat to sustain your body. This is the most important thing that we have to do. This feeling that, I get a lot of joy by eating, as one has to get out of that. So like that, you just approach different aspects of it. And similarly about listening to music, because it gives a lot of pleasure. It calms your mind down and so on and so forth. But eventually you have to say that I don't need anything. If I'm able to live without music, that's fine. So like that, you have to keep on doing it. And then the mental aspects of it, that you become a slave to your own mind. Your mind reacts and you feel, I'm justified. I'm justified. People did me wrong. Somebody called me, road rage and so on and so forth. You have to give up that also. Let it go. So all those kinds of things are tyagas of different kinds. But the end result is that I am able to define myself without the anatma. And that's when the true freedom comes. Yeah. I think we're already late, so these people must be waiting.
Is there